On a quiet Saturday morning in Oakwood Grove, I was out with my trusty zero-turn mower, Liberty, cutting crisp lines into my lawn. At 68, with two creaky knees and a military pension that barely covered gas for the mower, this was my sanctuary. I'd served in 2 wars, raised 3 kids, and lost my wife to cancer 9 years ago. Since then, this lawn had become my therapy, my church, my battlefield. The sun was just peeking over the horizon, dew still clinging to the grass, and Springsteen's Born to Run hummed through my earbuds. I was lining up a perfect diagonal stripe along the driveway when a shadow stretched across the yard. There he was, a lanky guy in a neon orange vest, khaki cargo shorts, and dollar store sunglasses, clutching a clipboard like it was the Constitution. His bat plastic and shiny screamed vending machine prize. No hello, no wave, just a smug march straight toward me. He waved the clipboard and barked, "Your violating HOA Regulation 7, no mowing before 9 a.m. I'm issuing a citation. Shut it down now." I pulled out my earbuds. "Excuse me." He tapped his badge. "Neighborhood Compliance Officer Ryan Miller. I'm authorized by the HOA to issue fines and, if needed, detain residents until compliance is met." "Detain?" I repeated, stepping off Liberty, who rumbled like she was ready to back me up. I'd dealt with fools in my 30 years as a cop, but this kid trying to arrest me for mowing my own lawn? That was new. He scribbled on his clipboard and handed me a DULA 150 fine printed on glossy paper with a daisy watermark and a signature that looked like a kindergartner's doodle. "Pay within 48 hours or it doubles," he said. Then came the megaphone. "Great work, Ryan. Hold the line, that's what we trained for." I turned to see Karen Voss, our self-proclaimed HOA dictator, storming across the street. Mid-60s, hair dyed platinum blonde, she wore a matching orange tracksuit and waved a latte like a scepter. "You're disrupting community peace with that noise," she shouted, gesturing at Liberty like I'd been rev-vying a monster truck. "We've empowered Ryan with temporary enforcement authority. He is the law here." "Empowered him?" I asked. "With what, a whistle and a dream?" Karen bristled. "He's completed 3 online modules." "3 modules," I echoed, almost impressed. "That's 1 more than it takes to adopt a hamster." Ryan squared his shoulders. "This is serious, sir. You're not above the law." Funny thing, I was the law. Chief Daniel Harper, Oakwood County Police. But I held my tongue, curious to see how far this clown show would go. It wasn't just about my lawn anymore, it was about principle. These 2 kids playing cop and a woman running the neighborhood like a tin pot tyrant had crossed the line. "You better rethink this," I warned. Karen clutched her necklace and Ryan brandished zip ties. "I'm authorized to detain you if you resist," he said. I nearly laughed. "Those zip ties from Home Depot or your scrapbook kit?" "I'll use necessary force," he replied, deadpan. Neighbors started peeking out, phones in hand. A kid across the street yelled, "Get him, Pops," not clear who he meant. I leaned in close to Ryan, letting him smell the coffee on my breath. "Touch my mower and I'll haul you to county jail without scuffing your vest." He flinched. Karen stepped up. "This attitude is why our community's crumbling. We need order." "Order," I said. "Start with a real rulebook, not this dress-up game." I climbed back on Liberty, fired her up, and finished my lawn with surgical precision lines so sharp they could cut glass. Ryan and Karen fumed at the curb, scribbling furiously, yelling into a Bluetooth that probably wasn't paired. By the time I parked Liberty in the shed, a crowd had gathered, popcorn, lawn chairs, the works. It was the most action Oakwood Grove had seen since the '07 flood. I padlocked the shed, turned to Ryan and said, "1 more stunt like this, and I'll show you what impersonating an officer gets you." He faltered, eyes darting to Karen, who was too busy ranting to notice. I went inside, poured some lemonade, and watched them slink off like a defeated general and his lackey. But I knew this was just round 1. The next morning I stepped onto my porch, coffee in hand, expecting peace. Instead, I saw Liberty chained to a street lamp with a thick metal cable, a laminated impound notice dangling from her handlebars. "Property of Oakwood Grove Community Authority," it read, citing Regulation 7B again. The padlock was comically huge, like they'd raided a pirate MOVIE set. Ryan's signature sprawled across the bottom in red ink. I laughed, a dark, bitter laugh. They'd taken my 1 day of silence as surrender. Big mistake. I called Joey, my neighbor's 14-year-old tech whiz grandson. He showed up with an iPad, ready to film what he dubbed Lawn Wars 2025. I showed him the chain, the notice, the absurdity. He recorded it like a pro-dramatic Zoom's British narration. Then we went door to door collecting stories. I wasn't alone. Margaret, a retired teacher with a prize-winning rose garden, had been cited for unapproved plants. Ryan tried to zip-tie her mailbox. Joey's uncle got a warning for washing his car. Father Paul, the local priest, nearly got fined for backyard mass during lockdown. Ryan called it an unauthorized gathering. That man baptized my grandson, and now some punk was hassling him for hymns. We met at my place, Margaret with lemonade, Father Paul with holy water and the real HOA charter. Joey live-streamed it, neighborhood versus the enforcer. Standing by my chain mower, I said, this isn't about lawns or fines. It's about respect, principle, and not letting clipboard bullies run us over. We launched Operation Lawn Unity. No protests, just synchronized mowing, gardening, and watering at 8:30 a.m. every day. Margaret blasted Sweet Home Alabama. Joey made flyers. Father Paul blessed the plan. The next day, the block erupted. Mowers roared, sprinklers hissed, wind chimes sang defiance. I borrowed a mower from Pete down the street, VYing liberty as a chain symbol of resistance. Ryan showed up furious while VYing laminated warnings from his beat-up Honda. He yelled about violations, but people just laughed, offered him lemonade. Then he tripped over a hose, face-planting at Margaret's daisies. The crowd roared. Joey got it in 4K. Ryan sprang up, pedals flying, and lunged for my borrowed mower. I stepped in. Touch it and I'll cuff you with real handcuffs, not your craft store junk. One warning. He froze. The crowd went silent, watching. His power was gone, and he knew it. He retreated, knocking over trash cans as he peeled out. That night, Joey's VY Deo hit 10,000 VYUs. Margaret printed "Don't Mow Me Down" shirts. Father Paul wrote a sermon on courage. I didn't celebrate. I knew Karen and Ryan weren't done. Sure enough, before dawn, a rustle at my mailbox revealed another notice, fake, but legal sounding, summoning me for inciting disorder. I didn't get mad. I got my badge. Today, I was Chief Daniel Harper, and playtime was over. At City Hall, I grabbed the real HOA bylaws filed, signed legit. Ryan's ID was a bust, his fines unenforceable. The clerk said I wasn't the first to complain about fake citations. Back home, an orange, code red, notice banned my lawn gatherings. I called the team. Joey set up a GNOME cam. Margaret logged every threat. Father Paul filed a county complaint. I waited. 2 days later, they rolled up Ryan in full gear, Karen with a stack of clipboards, a kid with a drone filming their enforcement stunt. I stepped out, badge gleaming. Linda, Ryan, one chance to walk away. They froze. I'm Chief Daniel Harper, and you're impersonating officers, issuing fake documents, and harassing residents. I've got proof. Confess, apologize, or face charges. Karen blabbered about emergency governance. Ryan stammered. 2 deputies I'd called emerged, cuffs ready. No drama, just justice. Karen screeched about immunity as they were led away. Joey's VY Deo, HOA bus by police chief, hit 20,000 VYUs. Peace returned. At an HOA meeting, Margaret was elected president. Karen's last-ditch nomination flopped. She slunk out, defeated. A block party followed, no fines, just joy. Ryan later apologized. I offered him real training. Weeks later, Karen tried a comeback with fake notices and a TikTok, CIVYC order task force. I shut it down with a cease and desist and a court win. She left, binders and all. One evening, Joey asked the moral. Never mess with a man's lawn, I said, or his badge. Oakwood Grove was whole again, not perfect, but home.